When you're a wanted man, the last thing you should do is argue with the police online. It will only make them more determined to find you. But apparently a fugitive in Alabama just couldn't resist the temptation. He was accused of assaulting a woman and figured he had outsmarted local law enforcement. Because of the serious nature of his crime, police in Jefferson County had posted his picture on their Facebook page and named him the Creep of the Week. Of course, the Alabama fugitive didn't appreciate the label. He called his accuser a liar and even accused the police of defaming his character because he had not been convicted yet. But he then went on to taunt them by saying, "Good thing I moved out of state." That's when the sheriff sent the following message: "Doesn't matter where you moved, the warrant calls for nationwide extradition. You will be brought back to Alabama to stand trial. Please turn yourself in and spare yourself all that trouble. It will be easier on you and your family." His reply to the sheriff was, "You guys can just hold your horses." This resulted in a back-and-forth exchange between the sheriff's office and the suspect. It reached the point where even his family members and friends joined in trying to persuade him to turn himself in. One person commented, "You know they are going to knock on your brother's door and your parents' door until they find you." He then replied, "Funny part about them knocking on all of their doors is none of them know where I am. And yes, I'm going to turn myself in, when I'm ready. Are you going to post my $60,000 bond?" Feeling this public exchange was getting out of hand, police quickly posted, "Be quiet, do not talk about the case here." The sheriff's office then recommended they take the conversation off Facebook and he communicate with them via email. However, he posted, "On here is just fine." After a few more exchanges, he eventually asked, "Can I turn myself into St. Clair County since that's where the warrant is? I hear it's nicer over there." But as he continued to talk, he wound up giving police clues as to his whereabouts. The U.S. Marshals Gulf Coast Regional Task Office in Birmingham shared information with their counterparts in Ohio who tracked down the fugitive. He was arrested about a month after taunting police. It's pretty clear that dumb criminals just don't understand the meaning of the term, the long arm of the law. That is, no matter where someone may be hiding, they cannot escape the reach of justice. A man in Nashville, Tennessee went to a local bar and attempted to use a debit card from Regions Bank. But the system red-flagged it as having been reported lost or stolen. So the staff asked to see his ID. He then handed them a Tennessee driver's license. But that only made things worse, because the man didn't look anything like the picture on the ID. In addition, the height description didn't even match. The staff then called police. Once officers arrived and were able to examine the ID, they said it was plainly obvious it belonged to someone else. For his next trick, the man reportedly denied that he had tried to use the stolen ID. So to settle the issue, officers searched his fanny pack. That's where they found a wallet and several other bank cards. Everything in the wallet clearly belonged to the victim who owned the debit card from Regional Bank. And we just have to point out one rather obvious fact. When you look as unique as this guy, you're probably not going to find a random ID picture that looks like you. So here's a tip. When you look like this guy, your best bet is to stay out of trouble because people will remember what you look like. But this raises the obvious question. Why were you using a fake ID? Well, according to arrest records, the suspect was only 20 years old. The drinking age is 21. Of course, when you get busted for something like this, social media will have a field day. After this mugshot circulated, people said he looked like Alan Tracy from Thunderbirds. Others said he looked like Ken from Barbie and Ken. In a later interview, the suspect said that he chose the look after a waitress once told him he looked like one of those Ken dolls. Well, based on the orange jumpsuit you're wearing in this picture, you look like you went to jail. His bond was set at $25,000. At around 5:30 a.m., police were responding to a complaint at the Rhinoceros Bar in Missoula, Montana. According to reports, someone threw a rock through their back window. Just moments later, surveillance cameras caught a man using a brick to smash the front doors of a building that houses the local NBC affiliate station KECI. The suspect then went to a Taco John's where officials say he broke yet another window. Police eventually located the 62-year-old male suspect. Based on the video evidence, they concluded that he wasn't trying to break into these buildings, he just wanted to cause damage. His actions angered the NBC Montana engineers, because the brick also broke the original glass lights that builders installed back in the 1940s. The man was arrested and charged with vandalism of 3 buildings. But when you look at his mugshot, it seems to say, "I'm just getting started." And apparently, that's exactly what he was thinking. Because just 1 month later, a fire was reported in Missoula at around 10:30 on a Friday morning. Someone had torched an abandoned cabin that was being used by squatters. Fire officials said it was a total loss, with about $5,000 in damage. Police arrested the same 62-year-old man and charged him with arson. He was being held on $10,000 bail. And looking at his new mugshot, it looks like he's saying, "See? I told you I was just getting started." Cowbells serve a useful purpose. They warn neighbors that a cow belongs to someone. They also help owners find their cows by simply following the sound of the bell. But police in Polk County, Florida discovered that they can also help find lawbreakers. That's what happened when a 46-year-old man was inadvertently dragging a cowbell from his trailer hitch. The sound was so loud that it got the attention of a deputy who then started following the vehicle. Of course, when police are following you, they will also run your license tag. In this case, the deputy discovered that the man's registration was expired. Once he was pulled over, the deputy learned his license had also been suspended for failing to pay fines from a hit-and-run crash. While he was being searched, the suspect was also found to have a substance believed to be synthetic marijuana. He was arrested and faced multiple charges. Apparently those cowbells really work.